We need clear communication of the plan, and that is to who does what, and particularly also to patients about information about the vaccines and about where and when they will be able to get it. And I think probably the other key thing we need is some real leadership by the states and federal. We need the band to get back together again with National Cabinet, some leadership, stop the politicisation and understand this is too big to politicise and just get on with the job.
The government is speeding up the vaccination program for those aged over 50, but the biggest issue with that being that confidence is shot. So how do you fix that?
Well, I think that last point that I indicated is the key bit. We need some leadership and together. So I think, look, if you look at the landscape, look, there were some inadvisable sort of promises made about when we're going to get it, even before we'd actually had the vaccinations approved. Look, I think it's become a political target, a bit of snarking between the states and federal. Look, from a medical point of view and as a doctor, we don't care all about that. We need this vaccination program to happen, and we need everybody working together like we did earlier in the pandemic. And the states and federal government need to work together and set out that plan about, as I said, the supply, who does what, and the communication in the next few weeks.
What about vaccination hubs? What do you make of that? Or would you prefer that the GPs... that it's still run mostly by GPs at clinics?
Look, at the moment, if you look at the numbers, the GPs are really doing their bit at the moment, and they're really escalating their numbers. Their problem until now has been supply, and also that not all of them been on deck. They're virtually now all of them on deck, and the numbers are quite impressive. What we need to do now is build on that, because we need to increase the number, because sometimes mass vaccination clinics are first up going to be more convenient for some people. They're also going to be good for AstraZeneca when we get it, and I think they may be very key in the rollout of the Pfizer vaccine because of the increased sort of storage and technical requirements for that. So, look, they're going to be coming online, but look, I think it's all hands on deck, and I think it's not so much a matter of a replacement of general practice, but building upon what we already have. Because general practice is very used to giving out lots of vaccinations every year with the flu, and they're doing their bit at the moment.
What about the mRNA situation that has come along too? Perhaps there's $50 million that's been chipped in by the Victorian government. The PM seemed to suggest yesterday it's not really going to speed things up too much at this stage, but what do you make of that?
Oh, look, it's a good step. I mean, that's a down payment for something. Yeah. Look, the mRNA technology is more like in the hundreds of millions, and it's going to be a year or two away, I think, right, being realistic about it. And that's what I've heard. Now, the thing about it is it's good that it's happening in Australia. It's probably another thing that we need to start looking at about sovereign capability. I mean, I think this goes into the whole issue about not only vaccine manufacture, and good that we can make the AstraZeneca vaccine, because that's going to put us ahead. I mean, if you look at the numbers, we're ahead of New Zealand by double or 2.5 times because of the AstraZeneca. So anybody who thinks that we're doing badly, we need to compare ourselves against New Zealand. Yeah. But mRNA is going to be important for the medium term and the longer term, and we need to look at manufacture of not just that, but medications into the future.
Do you have, I mean, given the delays that we've had so far, are you expecting that there will be delays when it comes to these extra shipments of the Pfizer vaccine?
Oh, look, it's hard to know. Hopefully we can get to the table and get them out. But the reality is for all the countries that are doing pretty well, and even for some countries that are doing quite badly, like Canada, it has been difficult to get these vaccines because we don't make, the mRNA is essentially made in Europe or in the US. Nothing's coming out of the US. Some's coming out of the Europe, but only sort of at regular amounts. And we're not going to get most of our Pfizer until later in the year. So, I mean, that's one of the issues. But look, let's look at it the other way. The good thing is we'll have AstraZeneca. So most of our over 50s, who are our biggest risk, are going to be able to be vaccinated early. And if we get them done, we'll be in a much safer position.
Chris Moy, good to chat. Talk to you soon.
It's a pleasure.